Check.
Good evening, everybody.
Check.
Welcome to Emmaus Live. This is always on, isn't it?
Seems like it.
We are here together on our journey together towards knowing Christ. That's what we're all about here at Emmaus Live. That's right.
How we doing, Emmaus?
Yeah. People, anybody online will know that there's at least 10 people here. So
There's 10 people here.
okay, how you guys doing? Let's hear it. All right, I mean,
It's like 12 people here now.
I've got a dozen people.
Baker's dozen.
It's good to see everyone, and thank you also to anyone joining us online. It's good to see you. Welcome as well. We want you to be engaged and focus on what we're doing here today. So today, we're welcoming our special guest, which is actually Reed. He's already here. So what are you doing here, Reed? You're supposed to wait and then come up. Let's welcome Reed Bailiff. Here's Reed Bailiff. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
So.
Second time on the show.
Reed's
Big fan.
second appearance here on Emmaus Live. And what was I saying to you, Reed? I was saying something about we don't really hear enough from me these days.
Yeah, even though I have no part in the planning of this, they asked me to come up and interview you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That just makes no sense. But apparently people asked for it. They wanted it. So
People are really, really curious. They don't hear enough from me, so I really want to see what I have to say.
some of the questions I got did seem like they might have been written by you. I don't know.
Why do you think that?
The first question I have here is, how did you get so good at guitar, and why is your voice like an angel?
That's exactly. Thank you for asking that, Reed. Well, I have this prepared statement, so I'm blushing.
I might chuck in some of my own questions just so that it's not completely like biased towards
Yeah, that's
it.
fine. That's fine. You can just mix it. You can mix it. That's fine. You just roll with it.
Let's start with the generic one. What did you do after high school, and what led you to become a pastor?
That's
After high school, question. I like to. Was that Tyler?
That's not the first question.
The first question? I forgot.
What is the first question?
I forgot to throw in a question to you guys first. Okay.
Who is that? Who's that voice?
What is your favorite yard game? I was supposed to throw you guys a question first.
What?
Okay. Favorite? I forgot about that. I should have. I didn't get you in the planning on this.
I thought I was doing the interview.
Yeah. Sorry. No.
Is this not my interview?
You also forgot what's your favorite vegetable and how you like it cooked.
Yeah. I thought that was covered. You guys still want to hear that? Is that important
required.
to you?
It's required.
Well, it is fried onions. But what is your guys? I want to hear your favorite yard game. Now that the weather's getting nicer. Hopefully, like as soon as even next week, if the weather's nice, we have time. The sun is going to be around. We're going to play some yard games right here, Jody. Ladder ball, with the two balls on the string, you throw it and you try to hit the ladder. Yeah, over here. Road hockey, that's good. Is that you had the same one? Yeah. Spike ball. Who's a big spike ball fan? We're gonna bring that up. That's an indoor-outdoor game as well. You can play that inside, but better outside. Xander. Cube. That is my favorite yard game. Cube. The Viking chess game is sick. Right here. Kickball. Good game. Yep. Playing in the mud. We'll take it. We'll count it. We will count it as a yard game. You had another one over here if someone was still willing. No? Any response online? Who wants to say? Oh, just no. We're pretty blank. Anyone else over here? You're good? Yeah, Kaylin. Soccer, baseball. I mean, is technically the same thing as kickball, but we'll let it slide. We got more over here. Yeah. Basketball. Yeah. Manhunt. What a classic. Games breakout and Manhunt is so fun. We love that here at Emmaus for sure. And for me, it's Cube. It's got to be Cube. And if you don't know how to play Cube, we're gonna play that soon enough here at Emmaus because it's gonna be a good time. What's your favorite yard game?
Also, Viking chess. Is that another name for it?
That's another name for it. Yeah.
I do like that game. I'm in the spike ball camp as well, though. Favorite yard game.
Spike ball is up there. All right, now we can commence with the interview.
What was my question? My question was, what did you do after high school, and what led you to become a pastor?
Okay, that's a good question. During high school, I kind of thought I was really into chemistry. I thought that was really cool, and so I was like, I want to do chemistry. I don't know what fields. I think what you end up doing in chemistry, but I was like, chemistry is cool. It turns out you got to do a lot of math and science and stuff like that. But what I was really passionate about as well was kind of playing music. I always loved music, and I loved worshiping at church. And so, like, I found out that I could do that as a job, and I was like, that's actually pretty sick. So I had planned to come back for another year of doing sports and doing music at high school for my, like, in my 5th year of high school. And some of you are going to your 5th years doing that as well. And it was like 2 weeks before 5th year started, and I was like, decided that I wanted to go to college. And thankfully, when it comes to Bible college, you're usually able to make that decision because they will accept you. But which was great. So I was able to get accepted. And in 2 weeks, I was actually going to Bible college. And I really felt that God was calling me to take this step. I don't know what was beyond that, but I really did feel God calling me to go to Bible college. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. You've been to Saskatchewan. You've been to Briarcrest. It is literally in the middle of Canada, in the middle of nowhere. And you get there and you're like, why did I come here?
You do feel a lot of regret in that first 24
hours. Yeah, a lot
hours.
of regret, but it's too late. It's too late to go back. The plane ticket was so expensive that like you can't get home. So you're just there. And so from that point, I had determined that I felt called to inspire people to worship. That's what I wanted to do. And what led me to kind of be where I am was this process of developing what that meant. If I was going to inspire people to worship, then I actually had to explain them who God was. That's kind of a critical part of worship. And so I started learning a little bit more, taking more classes that had to do about theology, had to do about the Bible. And even more so, I decided, you know what, if I'm going to teach people about God, I should be able to like explain things about God to people who don't know God so I can inspire them to worship. And so I got into more apologetics and talking about defending the faith and like answering questions. And it just kind of turned into my calling, which was to inspire people to worship. It just got more complex and more deep understanding of that to the point where like this is just what I want to do with my life, and which led me to the opportunities that I have and where I've become here. So that's kind of led me to do that through wanting to inspire people to worship. So I hope that I continue to do that in my life. So
that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Here's a question you're probably going to be less prepared for. If your beard was a Pokemon, do you think it's fully evolved, or do you think it has more growth or changes?
I've done a lot of studying of Pokemon. I've read the like a whole, because my son really likes Pokemon, so I would read this whole like dictionary of Pokemon. So I know a lot, and I know that the evolution does continue. So it's definitely not stage 2.
It's not done yet. It's not done yet.
It's definitely stage 2.
Nice.
I don't know if it's going to, because they don't all get to full evolution, right? So it might just stick around in stage 2. We'll see.
So what are some ways you were challenged during Bible college then? And like what was God teaching you in those times?
There's 2 things I can think of directly, but I mean, it's just kind of like that. It doesn't matter. I used to think that it was something to do with like certain experiences, but like it doesn't matter what age you are at this point of your life. Like after high school, you're going to come to points where you're just going to be challenged. I mean, there are some places where they're a healthier, better place to be than others, but you are going to be challenged just because you'll be taken out of the environment that you're in. And for me, I was challenged in 2 ways. One was like realizing that there were other people that were like better at me than at music, and I like actually wasn't that good. And so like that was a big thing to be like, oh, I actually need to be humble and like need to actually practice my craft, need to like learn at that. And so that was a good experience, and trying to wrestle through comparison in my mind to other people. And I think it doesn't matter what field you're going to be in, you're going to kind of deal with that when you go to school, when you go to, you might be the smartest person in your class, like in your school, in your town, but if you go to like a big university, you're no longer, like everyone's kind of there with you. So that kind of got that experience, which kind of like brought me down a notch and like humbled me a lot. And then the other thing was just kind of like being pretty hard-headed and stubborn in like the things and how I believed things. And it kind of like, instead of having this hard, firm pavement, things got like grounded down into what I would say is soil where things can actually grow. And so you can actually grow in your faith, grow in your understanding of the Bible, of life, of people, relationships. And that was really important for me, which was grinding that down into soil or something that can grow, because you're a pretty arrogant teenager most of the time. And that really continues, especially for like a couple years out of college too. So it's good experience.
Yep. Okay, another question here. On a scale of 0 to 1, how would you rate your personal hygiene?
0 to 1. Yeah. What 1 being?
Pretty good.
And 0 being?
Not so good.
I'll say like 0 point. Like I shower pretty much every day, so it's got to be like.
Just take the 1, man.
I'll take the 9.95.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
But I probably shower too much, actually. It's bad for the beard, the hair, and the hair, But whatever. Tyler knows at camp like how many times I would shower a day, like 3 times. I was like, might as well. I'm not paying the water.
Yeah, that's too much shower. So a question we've been asking a lot of the leaders, like any advice for people coming out of high school, entering adulthood? What's your single piece of advice?
Single piece of advice.
Maybe it can be like got bullet points. But
big
one though.
I've had a lot. There's a lot of really good ones that I would have to follow up. So I can't steal those ones, unfortunately. But for me, I think that a great piece of advice would be to, sometimes it just seems so small, the things that these are just kind of the things I learned in like when I'm like in my late 20s, and I'm like, would have been the key, but that's probably not the case. But seriously, one of the things is like knowing where your money's going and coming from. Like seriously, like not actually just like spending your money. Like how many times did I go to East Side Mario's with my friends and I was like, that was a waste of money. Like there's no way I could have made pasta. We could have had a great time at my house and played Mario Kart, but we'd had to go to East Side. So just know where your money's going. Track your spending, track your income. That would be. The only reason I say that, and there's so many big deep things I could say in this moment, but like the reason I say that is that's so important. You're always going to have this point in your life where you're like, I should keep track of my spending. I should keep track of like where my money's, what I'm doing with my money. And you don't want that moment when you're 50. I can tell you that. You want that, or 40 or 30. You want that moment as soon as possible. So as soon as you have that moment, it's a great thing. So
I'm really not surprised that a Cuthbert was giving.
It's a classic
saving advice.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, I think that's all I have. So are we pitching it back to Tyler for a game now? Is that the schedule?
Yeah, thanks, Reed. that's you're natural at this. I really appreciate your questions and your patience with me on that. So thank you, and thank you guys for listening. You guys are such a great audience. Appreciate you guys. So let's hit to the game. What do we got for us, Tyler? And you guys can all stay where you are. And what's going to happen is if you think you know the answer, you can stand up, and I'll call on you, and you can see if you can guess. But Tyler's going to explain what this game's all about. The voice. It's called.
Let me just go live here online. All right, we're going to be playing a game. I just lost it. That's great. Give me a second. There it is. Called Synonym Song Battle. Synonym Song Battle. All right, so what's going to happen in this game is you are going to see some words come up on the screen. They are the title to a song. However, they're synonyms to the normal words used for the song title.
Give us the definition of synonym.
It's a word meaning the same as the other word.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, so
cinnamon.
Yeah, song title will be given as all synonyms, words that mean the same thing, and players must guess the original song title. First to guess correctly wins that point. So the way you're going to do this is, if you think you know the answer, you're going to stand straight up. You're going to hit yourself in the head as hard as you can. No, don't do that. Just hit yourself in the head. If you're online, you can guess too. Wait for Luke or Reed or myself to call on you. If you get it right, you get a point. Keep track of your own points, because I can't keep track of all of you. All right, and if you guys can't get it, then we'll let Reed and Luke take a go at it. All right, first one. Joyous birth date. Joyous birth date. Say it louder. It is happy
birthday.
Happy birthday. They're not all that easy. You needed a good example.
Come on.
Next one.
You said that was easy?
The female is upon
Unknown?
flames.
Unknown.
I think that's written by Pharrell.
This girl is on fire.
Nice.
This
Alicia
girl
Keys.
is on fire. Next one.
Copyright that song. You got
My cardiac organ will proceed. My heart will go on.
Whoa.
My heart will go on. You're getting it. You're getting it now. Next one. Solo gals. Solo gals.
Oh.
It's Noah back here. Single
ladies.
Single ladies. Is that how you think it goes? Next one. Sea pupils. Sea pupils. Ocean eyes. Ocean eyes.
I don't even know that song.
I don't either.
You guys are
I thought it was Owl City.
Next one. Croonin' in the precipitation. Sam. Singing
Sam with the classic.
in the rain.
Sam would know that one.
Most played song on Sam's iTunes.
Next one. Celebration in the unified Commonwealth, land of liberty. Eli. Party in the USA.
Classic. It's a great song.
Next one.
It is.
Carry me to my house, rural streets. It's Eli again. Take me home, country
John
roads.
Denver.
John Denver.
Wow.
Next one. Our own selves are on no account becoming once again in conjunction. Or in conjunction.
Our
Our own selves are on no account becoming once again in conjunction, Christy. We are never getting back together.
Taylor Swift fan, number one right here.
We are never getting back together. Not for a moment, exclaim not at all. Not for a moment, Noah. That is never say never.
Never say never.
That's it, Luke.
Never say never.
Guys, stop. We're gonna get shut down.
Never
Copyright.
say never.
Copyright. You can't. We're gonna get shut down.
Never say never.
Vintage Village Highway. Vintage Village Highway up here. That is Old Town Road. Old Town Road.
We got a couple another Cyrus on there. Wow.
I desire to grab your palm. I desire to grab your palm.
Yeah.
I want to hold your hand.
I want to hold your hand.
Okay, that's it. You can't do more. We'll get shut down.
I wanna hold you.
Rotation in the depths. Rotation in... Luke, is that...
Go ahead, someone else.
Sam got it? Sam got it? That is rolling in the
Sam's
deep.
got the classics.
Wrap my heart inside.
Next up. Evil man. Evil man. It is
Bad guy.
Bad guy. Bad guy.
A lot of Billie Eilish.
There's two Billie Eilish songs.
It's a lot. It's too many.
Sock me infant once more.
You said it.
I know, it's really hard not to say it. It is Hit Me Baby One More Time. Sam got that one.
Suck me, baby, one more time.
Sock me infant once more. Pondering loudly. Pondering loudly. Eli. It is thinking
I'm thinking out loud.
Next one. Circle of Flames.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
Yeah, it's Ring of Fire.
Down in the flames
are
of
getting
higher.
higher.
All right, it's Ring of Fire. Good job, guys. Reed started singing before anyone gave an answer. Pupil of the feline. That's Sam again. It is Eye of the tiger. We have two more. Two more. Infant toothy fish. Infant.
Shark, doo, 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 doo.
It is baby shark. Baby shark. Last one.
Do 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 do.
Technical support jewelry. Technical support jewelry.
Technical.
That is Hotline Bling. Hotline Bling. And that
Nice.
is
Very good.
everything I have.
All right. Thank you very much. Give Reed a hand for helping out here. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, so I want to know, what is the first thing you do when you come home after being away for a long time? What is the first, so whether you're coming home from school, something simple, or you are on vacation and you're coming home, what is the first thing you do over here? Say hi to the dog, hi to the family. Someone else, yeah? Shower. Yes, that's probably necessary after camping. Get something to eat. Eat. Open the fridge. Go to the fridge. See what's there. Someone else, yeah? See your what? See your pets? Yeah. See your pets? Yeah. Changes in comfy clothes, especially coming after a long day. That's a good call. Yeah. Go to lie in bed. Like not go to bed. Not even go to bed. Like you just lie there. Yeah. That's right. Kaylin. Go for a walk. So First thing you do when you get home is go for a walk. Okay. After a long walk, I'm going to go. Okay, that's just funny. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, over here. Go to my friend's house. Go to your friend's house. I don't want to be home. I want to see people. Yep. Pardon? Play video games. Who's going right down to the couch? Yep. Unpack. Yeah, that's actually a reasonable answer. Some people actually don't do that as the first thing. Some people do that as like the fourth or fifth or sixth or like the next day kind of thing. What about just like coming home from school? Anyone else have anything like that? Yep. Just watch television. You know, you just, especially if you've been doing a lot of stuff, you just want to sit and just chill. Yep. Pardon? You get in the house. They were getting logical here. The first thing you do is you go into the house. Yep. You said that. You literally said that already. Yep. Go on your phone. Is that the first thing you do, anyone? We got another one here. Get out of the car. Okay, now we're getting literal Matt, yes? That is the right answer. Thank you. We found it. There it is. Thank you. That was a long. Guys, we already found the answer. Okay, what? Xander, and then Barry Skittles here. You go out. You come home and you're out again. Never settling in one place. Okay. Barry Skittles, what's up? Just text your friends like, hey, I'm home. Okay, one last one here. Pardon? Yeah, go ahead. Go outside. Go outside and play. So we are in chapter 3 of Ezra, and we're looking at what the people of Israel do coming out of exile, and they arrive in Jerusalem. What is the first thing that they do? Okay, we're talking about just under 50,000 people coming into, led by Zerubbabel, whatever. And we're going to look at the first thing they do. So Ezra chapter 3. Verses 1 to 6. We're just going to see what is the first thing they do. What are their first steps? This is the book of Ezra, chapter 3, verse 1. When the 7th month came and the Israelites had settled in their towns, the people assembled together as one in Jerusalem. Then Joshua, son of Josedek, and his fellow priests, and Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and his associates began to build the altar of the God of Israel to sacrifice burnt offerings on it, in accordance with what is written in the law of Moses, the man of God. Despite their fear of the peoples around them, they built the altar on its foundation and sacrificed burnt offerings on it to the Lord, both the morning and evening sacrifices. Then, according with what is written, they celebrated the festival of tabernacles with the required number of burnt offerings prescribed for each day. After that, they presented the regular burnt offerings, the new moon sacrifices, and the sacrifices for all the appointed sacred festivals of the Lord, as well as those brought as freewill offerings to the Lord. On the first day of the 7th month, they began to offer burnt offerings to the Lord, though the foundation of the Lord's temple had not yet been laid. Okay, so the Israelites, they show up in Jerusalem, and there is just a ton of work to do. Okay, so imagine this. The city of St. Thomas decides to just get up and go to Saskatoon. Okay, they all travel to Saskatoon, every single one of them. All 40-something thousand of them are heading to Saskatoon. It's a long trip, but they're walking there. They're going to walk there. Okay, this is in summer. It's going to be fine. It's over spring, summer. It's going to take 4 months. It takes them 4 months to get there. Okay, just can you imagine like how much things need to happen to move 40,000, 50,000 people into like it's mind-boggling, okay? Who's moved recently? Anyone moved? The people who moved, okay? You understand what it takes to move, okay? Tyler and Christy recently just moved, and their parents moved as well, and at the same time. And it was a lot of work. I was only there for like an hour, and I was like, this is a lot of work, and he was there for, a long time doing a lot of work. So that's like 4 people moving. So times that by like 10,000, okay? And that's like, we're moving people, okay? There's a lot to do, okay? And so when they get there, you can imagine there's all this stuff to do. There's land to work, right? Shops to open, stuff to buy, stuff to sell, stuff to build, repair, clean. There's so much to do right now. It's overwhelming. Like, I would not want to be an exile coming into the city of Jerusalem. I can tell you that. And there's lots of concerns that they have. There's no walls. The walls are torn down. There's no temple. And there's lots of things to worry about. There's no standing army, nothing to protect them. It says they're afraid of the people that are in the land. They're already afraid. But in spite of that, what do? What do? They come together as one people. They come together as one to get right with God at the altar. And they rebuild the altar. And this is really interesting because this one place, this altar is still the most controversial, the most debated, the most hotly contested holy site in the world. Is now built. The Dome of the Rock, I think, is built there right now. Where it's just there's a lot of this is a big deal. Okay, so they rebuild the altar, and it's the first task that they set to do is to worship and obey God. That's what they want to do. That's what they came to do, and that's what they do. And they're returning to the ceremonial laws of Moses. And I believe the lesson for us from this passage in the Bible is that we should put God first. And we're going to look at 3 ways that we can put God first. 3 ways, okay? First is we're going to put God first in unity together. As it says, they kind of show up, and it says they came as one people in Jerusalem. It means they were united, they were together, and I think that for us, we got to unite in unity if we're going to put God first. And we often think of the Christian kind of spiritual walk individually. I have my relationship with God, you have your relationship with God, and they don't really have anything to do with each other. And, I think of my relationship with God as something that's just between me and God, and we don't have this kind of corporate sense that the people of Israel did, or that's kind of what maybe the New Testament early Christians did as well with the church. And there's some good with that, and there's some bad with that. And I think we need to strike a balance between the individualism of our culture and kind of how we do things, and we kind of move it towards something that's a little bit closer to what something that's not so individualistic. So the church is made up of individuals, yes, but the church is the bride of Christ. Not any one individual. The church is the bride of Christ. And there's a danger going too far the other way as well, and forgetting the role of the individual in the church, but we tend to be too individualistic. And here the Israelites come together as one people acting as one. And this type of unity is also supposed to mark Christians. Jesus, his prayer in the garden, in the Gospel of John, he says this in John 17:20-23. I'm going to read it for you. I think it's going to come on the screen as well. Tyler's amazing. Look, he does it. Okay, my prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us so that the world may believe that you have sent me. I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one, and I in them and you in me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Then the world will know that you sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. So we put God first in unity together, and this is part of letting the world know about Jesus because of our unity and our love for one another as believers. And Christians have kind of struggled with this, I would say, a lot, but it starts with small groups of local churches that can just love each other and be on this journey together. And it starts with us here. It starts with you and your friends here. And this is consistent with, in a way, we put God first by putting each other first. And this is consistent with Jesus' teaching of loving your neighbor, and first shall be last. Whoever wants to be first must be the servant of all, as Jesus said. And at Emmaus, we're very intentional about all of us being together on this journey. We're on a journey together towards knowing Christ. And we continue on to be intentional about being together as one, putting God first in this way. And so that's going to involve encouraging one another. It's going to involve walking with each other through our struggles, our trials, being open. Everyone contributes and shares kind of what's going on. Calling one another out as necessary, as brothers and sisters in Christ. So this is what it means to be the church, to be one. Putting God first in our lives means not thinking of yourself only, but thinking of others. So that's the first one. Put God first in unity together. Because the Israelites, they came as one. Okay, the second thing is put God first in everyday practices. There's always going to be, some important distraction or something that's distracting us from God in our lives. That's just how it works. When we have friends, technology, games, chores, sports, family, food, work. There's just so many things that are going on in our lives. We're very complex creatures. And there is always going to be something that seems more important than kind of the basics of being a follower of Jesus. And that's things like prayer, reading your Bible, going to church. And I find that sometimes there's other things that are kind of pulling me away from those things that are important. But these are the kind of practices that show us that we're putting God first. And some people, you might say, I put God first in my life, but if these things aren't there, this is kind of like basic 101 kind of stuff, then that's not necessarily the case. And we should make sure God is first in our lives. And the Israelites could have done all sorts of things with good reason before they set up the altar, before they started doing these worship practices. And this is kind of cliche. This whole idea of put God first, it seems cliche to me. I don't know about you. I don't know if you've been around the Christian world long enough. But I think it's important to lay some practical things we can do to make this happen, put God first. These are the things you may already do. Okay, so maybe these are just things you need to think about and evaluate. It may not mean anything in particular to you, but I hope you are challenged to think about how you can keep God first in your life with these very practical things. Okay, this is not rocket science, and these are going to be based around the three most basic Christian practices. Like I said, prayer, Bible reading, going to church. To put God first, to see if God is first in your life, evaluate these things first in your life. And if you want God to be first, do these things, okay? Put God first in your everyday life through prayer. Pray before you eat. I know, sometimes I'm just like, well, is that, is that in the Bible? Do we really need to pray before we eat? I'm like, technically, no. It's not a commandment. It's 10 Commandments. It's not one of them, okay? But the practice of doing that actually is very, it really helps you ground you into this consistency of and even before you sleep, before you do anything, it gives you the sense that this is something that God is providing for, and I'm grateful for, and it keeps you in that rhythm of life of actually helping you understand what God is doing in your life. And it keeps you grounded to think that God is providing for me, and this comes from God, and I'm dedicating this to Him in this moment. And that kind of keeps you in that rhythm. And that's just a good thing that you do every day, that you can I'm going to pray before I eat. And because this is what gives us energy, it keeps us living, and it's how God provides for us. So praying and giving thanks before we eat or sleep or do something recognizes God as our provider and puts God first in our lives. So this habit of prayer is a constant reminder of who God is and keeps us grateful and aware of His presence in our lives. So put God first in your life every day through prayer. And that's just one way you can do it. You can pray before you eat. You can pray before you go to sleep. And you can pray before you really do anything. You can do that, okay? So just think about that and examine how am I not, or am I, or should I be putting God first through prayer in my life? Okay. Secondly is put God first in your everyday life by going to church. I know some of you don't have as the control over this, but a lot of you are at the age where you could just decide, I don't want to go to church. I don't want to, especially these days, you can just you don't even have to tune it. You could pretend that you're watching it, but then actually not watch it, right? So don't skip church lightly, okay? If you say that God is first in your life, and maybe I haven't convinced you that He should be. Some of you are probably thinking that, but let's just assume that you are. If you say that God is first in your life, and you just blow off church, without really thinking about it, that's a problem, okay? I know how easy it is to skip church. I've had many opportunities to do that. Even I know it seems hard to believe, but it's just it's just super easy, especially for me when I'm if I have the opportunity, I will. So I get it. But if you're going to put God first in your lives, you should make church a priority and take it seriously when you are there. Our generations, the younger generations, and millennials and Gen Z, and I don't know what we're on. I don't know what letter we're on right now. Is to kind of view, especially during the pandemic, to view church as nature is my church. The world is my church. I can have church anywhere. And my body is a temple. I'm some of those things are true. I mean, that's actually true. But it's not completely false. But if they're causing you to actually neglect a weekly gathering of a worship service with God's people, that's wrong. And I'm not commenting anything about pandemic or anything like that. I'm just saying this is kind of what we should be doing. And if it's got to be online, then it's got to be online. But if God is first in your life, you'll go to church and make church a priority. Not that there are sometimes good reasons for missing church. Like I said, I've done that before. But I don't want to put you on a guilt trip about like, go to church, youngins, come on. Like that's not the point. It's just like if you say God is first in your life, like why wouldn't this be a priority? That seems like basic to me, right? That's 101 stuff. So I don't think that's unreasonable. The next thing is put God first in your life by reading your Bible. Consider reading your Bible first thing in the morning. Think about it. Now, if you want to make the case that you're not a morning person, you're going to have a much more meaningful time reading your Bible at night. I understand. I think you're making a great case. I get it. But don't tell me that I just keep reading the Bible in the morning, and then you're just on your phone there in the morning, like literally scrolling all morning. You think that's so you're saying that like it's okay to you want to do your phone time is okay in the morning, but not your Bible reading time? I don't know. I call that bluff. Okay, I call that. All right. Take some time to read the Bible in the morning if you can. Like I said, it's not bad to do it later. But for me, what I tend to do that. I used to get up and I used to go to the table and I'm so old that there were newspapers on my table every day. Okay, when I was growing up. I don't know what you guys' experience are, but there were literal newspapers, and so I would read the newspaper. Okay. And that was I really get to get the world, learn what's going on, or I would watch TV or something like that. But now what I've been thinking is and someone challenged me one time was well, why wouldn't you read the Bible first? And I was that actually would be a better thing for me to do. Why wouldn't I do that? And then after I can read the newspaper. So what I've been doing is kind of getting the YouVersion app, which I highly recommend everyone should have on their phones if you don't already. And you can actually have a reading plan. It'll give you notification first thing in the morning, and you're I should read the Bible. And you can read the Bible. Just scroll through it. You can listen to it, audiobook on the YouVersion app. This is great stuff. And it really helps to be I'm going to do that first thing in the morning. Even if it's a little bit, and sometimes I'll do that before I start scrolling. I think it's a great practice. So just a challenge there. I said that. And try reading your Bible. If you just use your phone, if you like being on your phone, and first things first. I think that's a good practice. And like I said, you can make your case. There's a lot of grace for all this kind of stuff about doing it, reading in the evenings. But I think that if you can do other things in the morning, you can do that in the morning. So it's just a challenge there. So maybe you can think of more application points on how to put God first every day in your small groups. And the point here is that the Israelites had a lot more problems and things that they could have been doing and that could have been distracting them than we do today. A lot more worries, even with the pandemic, a lot more concerns than even we do. And I think we can recognize that. It's just tough being in the ancient world, I can tell you that. Ancient world, wow. And so they were thinking about all those stuff. So, and to me, it doesn't seem like the first thing I would do is sacrifice a bunch of animals. It's not my thing. I'd be we got to keep these for winter, guys. I'm going to make some clothes or something. What are we doing? Burning these animals. This is crazy. It'd be expensive, costly. This is the ultimate test for putting God first in your life, is actually practicing sacrificial obedience. Sacrificial obedience. So that's the third thing, okay? We put God first every day. We put God first together by being one. And the third is we put God first in sacrificial obedience. And oftentimes obeying God involves some sort of personal sacrifice. I don't know if you've experienced that. I know some of you have, where you actually have to you obey God and it doesn't go great for you, but you still obeyed God. And there's always things we want to do, and then there's the right thing to do. And within that, these things inevitably involve giving something up for God. As believers, we put God first in sacrificial obedience with our finances, and how we make, spend, and give money. That's one way that believers do that. And that I just no mistake that I kind of said that today. And it's kind of a big, and once you start making money and you start, and some of you have, and you start like thinking about giving money, you're like, this is a lot harder than I thought, actually. Like this actually takes a lot of willpower and like determination and sacrifice in order for me to give, even a little bit. Even if it's like, you should give more, even giving less is hard. Sacrificial obedience is how we put God first. That's one way. The other thing is just by obeying what he says in his laws and believing what God teaches us rather than just going with the safe kind of whatever the world kind of believes. We actually make a commitment to decide we're going to actually believe what God has taught in the Bible. That's going to involve some sacrifices. And the problem is we don't get, you probably aren't following Jesus if it's not costing you anything to follow Jesus. Think about that. Like if it doesn't cost you a thing to follow Jesus, it's like, are you? Like, is it? Because I think that's a good question to ask. We obey sacrificially. And here's the problem. We don't put God first very well. I hope that you've felt that when I've been talking to you. We don't. It's just, we should, but we don't. I don't. As well as I should. That's for sure. It feels like we could never do this perfectly. We can never obey God perfectly. We can never put God first perfectly. We struggle with unity as a church, especially these days. We struggle with unity as a church. We have different beliefs and different views about pandemic stuff. We often fail to sustain spiritual disciplines and these everyday practices of putting God first. Like I felt that, especially as a young person, even as in my Bible college years. I'm a Bible college student. I should be studying the Bible more. I should be praying more. I should be just doing this. And oh man. And we don't sacrifice what is necessary for obeying God. And we would rather choose the safer path than sacrifice. We don't put God first. And it feels like we never could. But Jesus can. He does. And he did. And the way we put God first is to come to the altar of Jesus. Come to the altar of Jesus, the cross of Christ. It's no mystery why there's like crosses everywhere in churches, and the cross is the symbol of the Christian faith. Because that is our altar. That is where we see the ultimate sacrifice of obedience on behalf of the church paid by Jesus. And so there's really nothing left to bring. We can try to bring all those things we talked about and put God first in this way and that way, but ultimately Jesus paid it all on the cross. I mean, the Israelites, they don't know this. This is how they get right with God. But how we get right with God is on the altar of Jesus. That's how we get right with God. It's not through prayer, Bible reading, or going to church. That's not how we get right with God. We get right with God at the cross. That's where our sinful nature dies with Jesus and is raised back to life. That's where our hope lies. That's what we put our faith and trust in. And we put the cross of Christ first, ahead of us, in our minds. The gospel of Jesus, then everything will follow, all those other things. We will be united in the cross. We will follow these everyday practices by the power of Jesus, and we will obey sacrificially because we're dwelling on the gospel, on the cross of Jesus. As the song goes, I've decided to follow Jesus. The cross before me, the world behind me, no turning back. Jesus gave his life for you. He bought you with his blood. The least you could do is put God first in your life together every day and in sacrificial obedience. So it may be confusing to you. I want to make it very clear. Well, all the stuff I was saying about putting God first, I think is important. Very important. We should put God first. The reality is that it's through Jesus and his death on the cross. He's the altar. The altar, they rebuilt the altar. Like, we don't need to go to Jerusalem, sacrifice goats and stuff. We don't need to do that. I don't know if it's that way. Don't get any ideas. Jesus is the altar. We go to Jesus. We go to the cross. And that's where we worship. That's where we come to him. And so, of course, we're going to gather as God's people. We're going to be united in the cross, in his blood. We're going to gather together. We're going to do some of these practices because we're going to get close to Jesus and we're going to worship him. And we're being transformed by his Spirit. So that's what I want you to get. So let me pray. I'm going to send you guys to your groups. We got some time here. So let me pray for us. Dear Lord, help us to marvel and wonder in the cross of Jesus. I pray if there's anyone here that just is continuing to wonder what the cross is all about, I pray that they would hold on. I pray that they would ask those questions, start those conversations with their leaders and with their peers and with me and whoever is available to them to listen, their parents, and to just continue to walk with us through this journey towards knowing Christ. And as they get to know more, may they more and more put their faith in Jesus. And I just pray if there's anyone here that is on that journey where they just continue to just throw up faith for Jesus and give that a try and see how their life can be transformed by his power. And God, I just pray that we continue not to look at the things that we can do, but look at what you've done on the cross. And help us to be transformed by this understanding. And from the inside out, come forth putting you first, not as a number one and there's everything follows, but just integrate who you are into our lives and help us to really feel and understand that we are your children and that we are worshiping you with our lives. Help us to do that, and I pray that these conversations that are going to be happen, that people would be blessed by that, and they would encourage each other in unity. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, thank you for joining us online, and we'll see you next week.